Well, hello, and welcome back to another podcast episode with Brittney Bundles. You are listening to the Brittney Bundles podcast, where we empower people through entrepreneurship. And today what I want to talk about the importance of keep moving, continuous movement, striving forward. I want to talk about why that is so important. Very often in our entrepreneurial journeys, we get comfortable. We've talked about that a lot here on this podcast platform. Not only do we get comfortable, sometimes we get discouraged, okay? And sometimes we're not even feeling discouraged, but we feel distracted. Sometimes we're not distracted, but we feel like we're just at a standstill. We don't know what to do next. We don't know where to go, who to talk to, what changes need to be done with our business, how to continue to be innovative. And so today what I want to talk about the importance of keep moving, continuous movement, pushing forward. And I want to talk about some ways on how to do that. So if you are interested in this podcast episode, please share the podcast. I've mentioned this in some other podcast episodes. You can share the podcast by sharing a link via text message. You can share it on your social media platform. You can share the link via email. You can also turn on the podcast when you're riding in the car with a family member or a friend. The podcast is now growing. We're on multiple platforms. We have been on multiple platforms for a while now, though, but we've added some other platforms have recently added us, and I don't have the names right in front of me right now, so forgive me, but I'll go over that in another podcast episode. So I'll go ahead and give you all a moment to share the podcast, and I'll be right back in just a moment. All right. So today we are talking about keep moving, keep it moving, how to keep going, how to push forward. The first point that I want to touch on is do not give in. There are so many people that are so close to their entrepreneurial breakthrough that they don't even know it. You're so close, for a lot of us, to that first sale. You're so close to reaching that first milestone, that first goal that you set out for your business. You're so close to reaching the right target audience. You're so close to creating the website design that you've been toying around with and going back and forth on, and picking pieces from this side and picking pieces from this idea that you had, and adding different color schemes together. You're so close with finalizing the details. You're so close with deciding if you want to partner with a certain person or not. You're so close with being able to see your business a lot clearer. And a lot of times we give in right before that almost actually happens. And we're so impatient at times. And I can admit I am too, We want things to happen immediately. If you think about it, that's just the world we live in today. The world has structured us to not want to wait for anything. We don't want to wait for a sale. We don't want to wait for traction to grow with our social media accounts organically. We don't want to wait to build relationships with customers and clients. We don't want to wait for abandoned carts to come our way. We don't want to wait for website visitors. We want everything today. We want sales today. When I first started my YouTube channel, one of the questions that I used to get very frequently is, when will I get my first order? And I actually made a whole video on that on my YouTube channel at Brittney Bundles. So if you're not following me there, please do so. But I got that question so often, Brittney, when am I going to get my first order? When did you get your first order? I've been having my website up and active for about a month, no order. Brittney, when did you get your first sale at your brick and mortar location, at your salon? When is this going to happen for me? And I had to explain very frequently that it's different for everyone. And rather focus on just the results, let's focus on enjoying the ride, number one, because you are going to learn a lot along the journey as long as you are paying attention and you allow the journey to teach you. And then you also have to take into effect that everyone's business setup is different. You know, if you're comparing yourself to a person that already is established on social media, already has a pretty good following, versus someone that does not have any social media accounts, you know, the leverage that you have in connecting with certain people to purchase from you is going to be on a different scale. Not saying that either party can't generate orders, but I'm saying it's different. And I'm just using that analogy to remind us that everyone starts off differently. Every business is literally different, even if you're selling the same products. And I say all that to say, sometimes we're so close to what we have worked for and we give up before we even reach the finish line. I was scrolling Facebook, it had to be maybe last year, and it was a picture. I actually shared it on my Facebook. Again, it was last year, so you probably won't see it if you go there now unless you're scrolling through my post. And the post illustrated a man hacking away at like this rock. And on the other side of the rock, there were, it was like this treasure. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think it was like gold or something. And he was almost there, but he couldn't see what was on the other side. He just saw how long he was whacking that rock and how much of the debris was around him. But he didn't see what was literally almost a sliver. like he literally may have had to hit that rock just maybe 10 more times, and he would have cracked what he was working for initially, but he didn't see that. So it's like if he would have walked away from that, had he had known how close he was, he probably would have re-evaluated the whole situation and not given up so soon. So I'm here to remind you all that a lot of times we give in before our breakthrough gets a chance to even come to fruition, before it has a chance to become a reality. Part of entrepreneurship is going to be, you know, having faith. There's no way to sugarcoat it. You're going to have faith that this thing will take off. You're going to have faith that you are going to reach your level of success. You're going to have faith that you're going to connect with the people that you need to connect with. Now, you also want to work, because faith without works is dead. However, faith is important. So don't give in. Okay, you have to continue to trust the process. And if the process isn't working, it's okay to change up the process. But we have to know that if we give up, all of that was for nothing. I mean, I don't want to say it was for nothing, because you like, again, you can learn things from it. You can always pivot your business, but in a sense, it's like, I don't want to stop working on what I've already invested in, if that makes sense. And if I stop, then I want to make sure that I'm pivoting it towards something that I'm interested in. And I'm continuing on my path of success versus stopping because I decided to give in and I'm like, I'm not seeing the results, so I'm done. A part of entrepreneurship is not just knowing when to jump in, but it's also knowing when to jump out. So for those of you that have decided to change up what you're doing with your business, I'm not really gearing this to you. This message is more so, or this tip is more so for the people that are just giving up because they don't see or don't feel or don't think that their success is going to happen. There have been people that have worked for their business goals for literally years and are now just reaching the place in their business where they have wanted to be for a very long time. And it makes it all the while worth it. You know, I don't think that I would have appreciated, I know for a fact, I mean, I would say think, but I wouldn't appreciate my business if I didn't have to put the work into it that I did. The second thing that I want to point out is don't give up. Okay, so I said don't give in, don't give up. Pretty much the same thing. I may have wrote that down when I was a little sleepy, but same tip. Okay, don't give in, don't give up. Hold on a little bit longer. Third thing I want to go over, okay, God has the final say. I think sometimes we forget that there's some things that just, you know, aren't in our hands completely. And you can surrender your business and your life over to God. You don't have to have the entire burden of worrying about what's going to happen with your business, where you're going to get your next meal from, how are you going to be financially stable. Does that mean that you shouldn't plan ahead? Does that mean that you shouldn't save? Does that mean that you shouldn't having an action plan and a goal for your business and a structure on how you're going to reach those goals that you have set forth for yourself. No, it doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that you can also understand that God has the final say. So whether I know the right move or not, whether I reach the amount of customers that I plan on reaching or not, I know at the end of the day, God's going to take care of me. I know at the end of the day, my business is going to be fine. I know at the end of the day, my life is blessed. I know at the end of the day, my business is blessed. So it's not even all in my hands. And that's so powerful, where when we can come to the terms of not having to struggle alone, or not have to know all of the answers. You know, it's one thing when you're waking up and you're like, hey, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders and I have to figure out a solution for everything. It's another feeling when you wake up and you say, hey, although I'm in this world, I'm not of this world. And although I'm working on how I can reach my goals, I also know that I'm putting my life in God's hands. I'm putting my business in God's hands. I want God's will to be done. And I know that God's will for me is to have the desires of my heart. I know that God knows how much I care about my business. I know that God knows that I want to please him. I know that God knows that I want to be successful. And so I'm getting energized just talking about this. Like I'm trying to say this as clear as I can. But whoever is listening to this and needs to hear this, stop worrying about everything on your own. You don't have to figure out every solution to every problem. And this is something that I had to realize in my personal life as well as in my business. I like having an idea and being able to know what's going to happen, like a map play-by-play of what's going to happen. You know, what am I doing tomorrow? What do I need to do the next day? What do I need to do to reach my goals? And that's great to have. You know, I'm not downplaying that at all. I would recommend everyone to structure their day and make their day outline in a way that's going to be productive and move them closer to their goals, right? I mean, that's part of being successful. However, I'm also going to challenge you to release what you've been carrying that's so heavy and put it in God's hands. Trust God with it. If you don't know what to do next, ask God. Even if you don't hear from God that moment, trust God. Because I kid you not, no matter what I go through in my business, God always makes sure that he sees me through. No matter what I go through, God always takes care of me. I have, and it's a blessing, all the different avenues of income that God has blessed me with. YouTube. I don't get a ton of views on my videos. I don't have a huge amount of subscribers on my YouTube channel at Brittney Bundles. If you're not subscribed, do that now, please. Pause this podcast and go do that. But I get paid every single month from YouTube. There has not been a month that I was below the threshold and didn't get paid out. That's a blessing. I get paid on multiple platforms. That's a blessing. I'm able to have my child, my baby that I just had here with me all day. I don't have to worry about daycare. That's a blessing. I remember how much I used to pay in daycare so that I could run my business, so that I could work. I was working and I was also running my business simultaneously so that I could get to the point where I didn't have to do the 9 to 5 and I could just run my business and be able to have more flexibility with childcare and being able to be present with my children as much as I wanted. And so some things you have to put in God's hands. God is always taking care of me. God makes sure that I always have a place to stay. He makes sure that I've never gotten evicted. He makes sure that no matter where I live, whether it's up north, down south, if you've been following my YouTube channel, then you saw my moving journey. He takes care of everything, and he blesses me. Like, it's just amazing when you look back and you step back and you see the things that God has done. I know a lot of times it's easy for us to get wrapped up in what we're wanting and what we're waiting for God to do, but just take a look and look at what God has done already. Look at what he's done for you. And so if you know, like I know that God's going to take care of me regardless, I don't have that pressure on my shoulders where it's like I have to know the answer to crack this code for my business or else. Yes, I'm going to work my hardest. Yes, I'm going to make sure that I'm structuring my day in a way that's going to move my business closer to success as best as I can. But no, I am not in control of everything that has to go along with my business or with my life. I put my life and I put my business in God's hands. And I know it'll be okay. I know it'll be better than okay. I know God's going to make sure that everything is working as it should. I know that. So I'm giving this advice or this word of encouragement to someone out there that needs to hear it. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to know all the next steps. As long as you're partnered with God, you'll be fine. You will be fine. And, live your life accordingly. Work as hard as you can and put your life closer with God. You don't have to be perfect, but I'm telling you that everything is connected. And sometimes we look at our business and we don't look at the rest of the things that are going on in our life. For example, if you're distracted in your personal life, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be your best in your business. If you're not eating the best, and I don't eat the best, so I can tell you that I don't eat the best every day. When I don't eat the best, I'm not the best that I can be for my business or any other activity. Okay. When I don't get my rest, I'm not the best that I can be in my personal life nor my business. So a lot of things are connected. So making sure that we're lining everything up accordingly is also going to make sure that we have more clarity in our business, and it's going to give us the energy and the sight that we need to continue to move. Fourth thing that I want to talk about is you don't need to show anyone. A lot of times we stop moving in a positive way toward our goals because we're so focused on showing people. Well, I had to show them. Let me stop and tell them. Allow people to think what they want to think. If someone has said, hey, her business isn't going to work, and you feel like now it's working and you want to just show them, let me show them that it's working now. Let me figure out where they're at now, or let me send them a DM, or let me friend them on Facebook so they can see what I'm doing now. Don't worry about proving yourself to anyone. That also is a form of distraction, and that takes away from us moving in the direction at the pace that we need to move in. It's not my concern what anyone else feels about my success. Yes, I take people's ideas and comments into consideration and their advice, but at the end of the day, I'm out of the phase where I feel like I need to show somebody. When I first started my business, I felt like I had to prove to people, people that would say, hey, you gonna quit your job to sell hair? And it sounded funny at that time, and a lot of people didn't support it. And when I started making money, I didn't want to, it was a part of me that didn't want to just forget what people said. I wanted to go back and I wanted to show people, okay, let me show people, especially you, that, I'm making money from my hair sales. Let me show you that I'm going to open a salon in a few months. Let me show you that I was able to get this vehicle. Let me show you that I'm buying this and I'm buying, and a lot of that is just, is pride. And it's unnecessary, and pride comes before fall, and it's a waste of time, and it's a distraction. At the end of the day, when you get to the point where you're confident in yourself, you don't feel like you have to prove anything to anybody. Like, I don't feel like at this point that I have to go up to anyone and prove to them how much money I make. I don't feel like I have to prove to anyone how much hair I've sold. I don't feel like I have to prove to anybody anything, you know what I mean? Like, I understand marketing, and I understand letting people see what they need to see in order to engage, and in order to let others see where they could go and beyond. However, do I feel like I need to knock on every old employer's door and say, hey, you said that I needed to do this, and this to sell this service or this product that you were offering, and hey, look how much I sold with my own business? Or hey, you or old friend, you said this wouldn't happen and this wouldn't happen, and look where I'm at now. I don't feel like I need to do that. So if any of you are feeling like you're doing that, you're constantly consciously and subconsciously sometimes trying to find a way to be seen only to show someone that what they said about your business is wrong, you're wasting time that you could be putting into your business, and you could be looking forward and moving forward. So keep moving. Allow people to think what they want to think. Like I said, one of my favorite sayings is, at First they ask why, later they ask how. You don't have to show anyone anything. Live your life. And, if people are that interested in following back up, they'll see. But don't take time out of your day. Don't take energy out of you, because honestly, people are going to believe what they want to believe anyways. Have you ever tried to prove something to someone and at the end of the day you were exhausted and they still believed what they wanted to believe? I have. And it doesn't even have to be business related, just anything. Like, have you ever just been in a debate with someone and you knew for a fact that what you were saying was like a fact, and this person was arguing with you that it wasn't, and you're looking like, no, it is a fact, and then you go back and you think about it the next day and you're like, wow, I literally spent this much time proving that what I knew was right. For what? People are going to think what they want to think, okay? Fifth thing that I want to talk about in relation to continuously moving forward with your business is allow yourself to be used by God. Like I mentioned with the third tip, God has the final say. Allow yourself to be used. So you don't know who you can help based on the struggle that you're going through. I'm not saying place yourself in struggles purposely. I'm not saying try to not move your business forward purposely. I'm saying do the best you can do, but realize that if you're going through a tough spot in your business, it possibly may be to motivate somebody else. God can use your shortcomings to help somebody else. God can use your down moment, so to speak, as a testimony for somebody else. There are so many things I've gone through in my life that I have been able to help others through based on what I went through. Not saying that I'm putting myself in situations purposely to be able to help somebody, but I'm saying that when you're going on a journey, there are going to be some things that aren't going to work as you intended them to work. And instead of giving up, like the first and second point in this podcast, don't give up and don't give in, I decided to keep trying because I want to reach my level of success. I want to be able to find fulfillment and the gifts that God put inside of me. And I also like the journey because not only has starting my hair business helped me identify a lot of things within myself, it helped me become a better people person. It's helped me become better at communication. It's helped me become better at problem solving. It's helped me become better at money management. However, there's still so many lessons that I have yet to learn. And if I would have given up and stopped moving, think about how many lessons I would have not learned, and think about how different my life would have been. A lot of you may be wondering, hey, I can imagine it would have been a little different, but I'm telling you, my life would be completely different if I didn't keep moving forward. And think about all the people that would not have learned the lessons that they're learning from me if I didn't decided to not move forward. And when you decide to stop as an entrepreneur, you have to really be cautious about it because you don't realize how much of an impact you have on other people. When you stop selling what you're selling, when you stop interacting with people, when you stop offering your services, it not just affects you. There are other people that it affects. There are other people that are looking up to you. And I'm not saying do something just to have someone look up to you, but I'm telling you that it's important what you're doing with your life because you never know who you're inspiring. You never know who you're teaching based on what you're doing. And we're so used to having validation for everything that we do with social media, right? Looking at the value that we put out based on how many people click the like button or how many people tuned in and watched in the first few hours or in the first day, instead of realizing that no matter who clicked the like button or not, there may be somebody that saw what you put out that changed their whole day or changed the path of their life for the better based on what you're doing and based on the hope that your content or your life inspired them to have. So it's really important how we carry ourselves, and it's really important what we decide to do and how quickly we give up on things. I'm not saying that you can't change your idea, change your mind, or pivot your business, but I am saying that if you're stopping, if you're giving up, if you're deciding not to move forward because you're not seeing the results, remember, you don't know how close you are. And also, God has the final say, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Do what you need to do for your goals and for your fulfillment and for God's glory. Also, allow yourself to be used by God no matter what you do. My hair business started with me selling hair, And it transformed into me helping other women become financially stable and having an option to not go to work to make money, but actually stay home and be able to generate mobile money based on some of the tools and skills that I put out there, and also be able to look at how I was able to generate mobile money as an outline, a blueprint. So I give all the glory to God. I'm so thankful for everything He's doing in all of our lives. And I just wanted to come on here and motivate whoever needs to hear this, continue to move forward, continue to push through. I do want to thank you all for tuning into this podcast episode. As always, I don't want the podcast to end. If you'd like to be a guest on the Brittney Bundles podcast, be sure to email me. My email is btalks, TALKS@yahoo.com. You can also contact me on Instagram at Brittney_bundles. That is Brittney, BRITTNEY_bundles, BUNDLES. I'm on Twitter, Brittney Bundles, YouTube, Brittney Bundles, and Facebook, Brittney Bundles. Until next time, I'll talk to you all in the next podcast episode.